Hey family, good evening. Marquise Mayo here. I'm just saying video blog, and this is part 2 of the video on cultural diversity and its effect on education as far as students and teachers go. This first piece of information I have for you is pretty interesting. It dates to last year, September 3rd of last year, from the Huffington Post. And it says, in short, this year marks a milestone for U.S. public schools. Last year was the first time the majority of the students will come from minority groups. And that was according to projections from the NCES, I apologize, the National Center for Education Statistics. 49.7% of students in our public schools that year, last school year, were white, compared to 50.3% who identified as Black, Hispanic, Asian, or another non-white ethnicity. 10 years ago, from this study in 2004, 60% of students were white, and by 2022, that figure is going to fall to 45%. Now, if you guys remember from a video I did earlier, I talked about Norristown and how the minority in Norristown School District is the majority. And one of the issues that comes along with that, and I'm continuing to read from this article, you have 2011, 84% of public school teachers were white. So basically what you see is that you have a majority of the students are the minority as far as race goes, but the vast majority of the teachers are white. And that doesn't seem to be changing as much. And I went to the NEA website to get a little bit more information about teacher recruitment and things of that nature. NEA is the National Education Association, and they have what they call here the Minority Teacher Dilemma, and they present a bunch of issues as to why there aren't as many minority teachers as there should be. And I'm going to read these issues to you. Demographically, a region, state, or school district contains few minorities locally available for its teacher pool. Burnout and frustration are caused by on-the-job hazards such as poor working conditions, discipline problems, spreading school violence, and a lack of support from colleagues. Inadequate schooling leaves some minority students ill-prepared and unmotivated for higher education. Standardized tests often have cutoff scores that exclude minority students from higher education, teacher training, and teacher certification programs. Licensure tests screen out minorities disproportionately. Salaries are low for teachers compared to the salaries for other professionals, which lowers the prestige and social value of a career in teaching for many potential minority teachers. Minority students find more career opportunities outside of teaching. The declining numbers of Black and Hispanic students majoring in education is steeper than the overall decline in education majors, and minority teachers leave teaching at higher rates than white teachers do. So, if you have a large amount of minority students in your district, and you have a low number of minority teachers in your district, then that's when you have, this kind of cultural impasse. If you, the part 1 of the video, I talked about what happened in Norristown with the teacher who made the comments, the racially charged comments, and the aftermath of all of that. If you have a teacher pool, your crew of teachers, so to speak, who are not either they're not culturally diverse, they haven't been exposed to many other cultures. Most of their students are, white like they are. You're going to have people, in my opinion, like that, who will say things completely out of line because they don't, one of the things about being around people of different races and being raised in an area, being brought up in an area, being educated in an area where you have black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, Pacific Islander all across the board. You have all of those races together. One of the things you kind of have that built-in filter. Meaning, even if you feel a certain way about somebody else's race or somebody else's color or whatever, when you're out there in public, when you're out there at the school, when you're either a teacher or a student or whatever, you tend not to put those personal feelings out there because you have to work with those people, you have to learn with those people, you have to be around those people, and you're not going to want to make your environment a hostile one, a negative one. You tend to find that the people who put out those statements and put those opinions, those racially charged opinions out there, aren't very cultured at all. They don't have that exposure to other cultures other than their own. So it's like they don't have that filter. They feel very comfortable just saying how they feel, as negative as it might be. So right now you have a very, very low number of minority teachers. And, I kind of related to the president situation. Before President Obama came into office, every president before him was white. And, you hear people say to, had teachers or role models in my life say to me, you could be president one day when you grow up, But you didn't really think about it like that because nobody in history looked like me or somebody like me. So when he became president, then, I mean, obviously I won't be running for president, but my daughters, other young black kids, the next generation, you can say to them, you know what, you work hard, you bust your butt. One day, if you really put your mind to it and you really go for it, you could be president. And they can look in the White House and see a family that looks like their family and say, you know what, maybe I can. You know what, maybe I can do that. I look at the teaching situation, the education situation the same way. If you have more minority teachers in the mix, then the minority students feel more comfortable. You won't have that. You won't have that divide, so to speak. And I'm not saying that exists with every teacher, because it did. The vast majority of my teachers, from kindergarten, from daycare, all the way up to college, were white. I was just telling my girlfriend not too long ago, I went to ITT Tech, and the time I was there, and not just ITT Tech, I went to Monco, and I would say I maybe had 4, maybe 5 black teachers, and the amount of white teachers I had was, I couldn't count. I can't count. I can't remember. It's that, so much more, so many more. And, none of those teachers that I had made me feel different or, made my education harder because we were of a different race. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, because it does. we have to remember that, you are, for better or for worse, you are more comfortable around people who look like you. The problem is we need to focus more on the better, and that, as it pertains to that, than the worse. The better meaning that if there's more minority teachers, then that means that there's more minority students who, as they go through school, they feel like, what, I want to make a difference. I want to choose a career path that is really going to mean something. You know what? I want to become a teacher. There's more black kids, Hispanic kids, Asian kids, as they go through their education, that are saying, I think I want to be a teacher. I think I can really do this. And, when we get to that point, then, you start to see that shift in the minority students and the minority teachers. You start to see the number of the teachers growing, and you will see. I believe you will see a lot of change in the education as a whole. You will see kids more engaged, more focused on their schoolwork, and like I said, I don't want to make it seem like. Honestly, there could be 100% white teacher, in the education system. It could be 100% white as far as the teachers go. And on the whole, and in a perfect world, that shouldn't stop any student, no matter what their race, from getting a good education and moving forward with a positive, having a positive impact on the world as they grow and learn. But we know that's very idealistic. That isn't real. So what we should aim for is to get more minority teachers in the teaching pools and get them out there applying for the jobs when they come about. And one of the things, if you remember, one of the dilemmas that I listed was, on-the-job hazards. Teachers being burned out and frustrated because of on-the-job hazards. And, if you say you want to hire a lot of minority teachers, but you put them in the worst neighborhoods, that you put them in all the urban neighborhoods with the worst schools and students that don't care, that truly don't care, parents that have no interest in their kids' education, which tends to happen more in urban areas than it does in other areas, suburban areas, rural areas, and things of that nature. You put a teacher in that environment, they're not going to want to, like the stats said, they burn out because they're focusing their energy on everything else but teaching. They're focusing their energy on going home the same way they came into work. Not getting cussed out by the kids, not getting beat up by one of the students. Making sure that they have all the necessary equipment and everything they need to teach. So, the minority teachers need to be put in better situations as well. When they are hired, they need to be put in better teaching situations. And it needs to be spread out evenly, basically, is what I'm saying. You shouldn't say, oh, yeah, we're going to hire a bunch of minority teachers, but we're going to put them in the hood. Then you're going to lose a lot of teachers. And the teachers you're going to lose are going to be the minorities because you put them in a very difficult situation. Now, the one other dilemma that I mentioned was they're talking about standardized tests, and that's actually going to be the topic of the third video in the education series, standardized testing, alternatives to standardized testing. It's almost like a vicious circle. when the standardized tests determine the funding to the school, but the school is full of teachers that are burned out, students that don't care, and things of that nature, you kind of have this bad mix going, then every time those tests come up, their scores are going to be low. They're going to be in that category of needs to show improvement. And then after being in that category for a long enough time, 5-6 years, I think it varies from state to state, the school's going to be shut down. So now you got teachers out of work, and then you have kids that need to be sent to other schools. And now these other schools are going to be starting to become overpopulated. So it's almost like a vicious circle. So as I've been reading into this and looking into this and trying to determine how I feel about it, we need to make teaching an attractive profession, so that kids will want to go into that profession, but not just white kids, but minorities also. And be able to, once you start to get more minorities into the teaching profession, make them feel like they're wanted in the teaching profession, and make them want to stay in the teaching profession. One of the last one I read is that minority teachers are leaving at a higher rate than white teachers. So you have to make them want to continue to teach, and that is by putting them in situations where they feel comfortable to do their job, to do what they were hired to do. So I'm thinking that I'm going to do a 3-parter on this topic, because I could go on forever. I want to cut this video short, and then we'll pick up with a part 3. I'm going to put that part 3 out tomorrow. So you guys have a good evening. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.